Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are on episode 78, and this is One Day Today. So glad for you to join us. So, who am I? Who are you? Like, who are we? Who are you really? We all, for me, answering that question for most of my life, I would have told you a story. I'm a musician. I'm this way. I had this happen to me when I was younger. I was picked on. I was bullied. I'm a quarter black, half Jewish, Italian kid, and I would tell you all these different things. But is that who I am? Is our story who we are? Is our thoughts who we are? Is our emotions who we are? Is what happened to us? Is that who we are? As I peeled back that onion for myself, I kept on finding, the more I peeled back, the more I realized my thoughts about who I was, the more I was limiting myself because I'm so much bigger than my thoughts. You're so much bigger than your thoughts. You're so much bigger than what's happened to you. And who you are is like that. That's the question. And really, and this is a question that someone proposed to me, or an inquiry, is maybe my authentic self is way bigger than I could ever imagine. And that's really what this space is about. Is how do you discover your authentic self? Like, what does that even mean? How do you even get there? And that's what this space is about. We're here to share the people who are up to beautiful things, who have discovered themselves through their experience. And I'm really excited about both our guests here today. But first, let me say hello to our co-host Matthew. Matthew, hey brother. Don't have too much of a winter storm there in Hawaii, it seems, like everywhere else in the country.
I mean, we got some clouds today, but
Yeah.
yeah, not. Although it's funny, people don't think it snows here, but I actually did get to go sledding a couple weeks ago on the Big Island.
That's awesome.
Yeah, up on Mauna Kea. It does exist. It is a thing. Just got.
I've heard that. I've heard that. I've heard that, and I was always curious of how that worked because I've heard there's skiing and snowboarding in Hawaii, and I'm like, that sounds like an oxymoron, or it sounds like a contradiction. It's like skiing in Hawaii, but I was like, that sounds like something I'd like to try.
You just got to go up. Like the
Yeah.
thing about this island is, like, if you don't like the weather, just drive 15 minutes. It'll change. And the higher you go, the wetter it gets and the colder it gets. And so, yeah, just do the thing. Um, and we were talking backstage, like, what you just brought up about what are you, who are you, and how do you discover that. Um, One of the things I really appreciate about these islands is they seem to exist in part as an invitation to stop and consider, or just slow down and consider. Like, there's just more space here to relax. And a friend of mine once said, like, the recipe for enlightenment is a quiet mind, an open heart, and a relaxed body. And that invitation for all three of those is here. And so, and you can have that anywhere, but sometimes it's nice to be in a place that actively encourages it, like Hawaii does.
Mm-hmm. I feel that's why I'm so called to go back to Hawaii, because it does have that. I definitely little jealous, at least right now. So I think I'm gonna just jump to having our first guest. I'm really excited to invite her to the stage. Let me invite our first guest. We have Sue Thoens. Welcome, Sue. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you guys for having me here today. And I'm coming to you from beautiful Bend, Oregon. Not quite as cold as some of the other parts of the country, but got some snow coming down nice and light here, which is joyful for me. It is winter. Well, today, guys, I just loved the conversation you were talking about, Abram, is, who are we really? And, where are we going in life, and what is our contribution, while are here on this planet? And, a little bit of my story that caused me to actually stop, Matt, and take a moment and breathe is on March 14th of 2012. I had the unthinkable happen. I lost my husband. And then in the course of the next 6 to 9 months, I wound up losing everything else that we had worked for the last 30 years for due to medical and legal expenses and other shenanigans, as I call it. But life had happened to me. And all of a sudden, I found myself at 50 years of age going, okay, Sue, what are you going to do now? Everything that you've done, I was a corporate executive for years, had a great corporate career. My husband and I owned 3 traditional small businesses together, but I had nothing. And I had a chance to just stop and say, what do I want to do with my life from here forward? And the other thing that it gave me was just such a value of time. With him gone, the memories that we have are, the things that we did together, the time that we spent together, the time with our family. And I realized that early in my life, went to school, got a great education, jumped right into corporate America, and it was work, work myself up the corporate ladder. And for myself, I was in sales. So the more I got promoted, that meant the more that I left my home. I got on airplanes and traveled and was away from my children when they were very young. And losing my husband, Bill, made me just realize I could never get that time back. And, same thing. He had a very busy, very successful chiropractic practice. I was blessed to work alongside him for many years in the practice prior to his passing. And we shared that time together, but we spent a lot of time because as a small business owner, we all know that if you're not working, the money's not coming in. You stop working, patients stop getting seen, money stops coming in. So we kept working and working for someday when the kids graduate college, and then we'll sell the practice, we'll sell the big house, we'll do the things we talk about. And someday isn't a day of the week, and someday for us didn't come. So I said, let me use this time, and what can I do? And I realized I was only worth an hourly wage in the job market. And I said, well, that's not going to work for me. What else can I do? And I was able to get connected with a group of business people who entered me into 21st century entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you, not just because I needed a way to make money for food, shelter, and clothing, which was important, but it has enriched my life in a way that I never knew about. And that was part of what I wanted to share with everybody here today is, first of all, what's possible. We are capable of doing so much more than we ever thought that we could. And I think society puts us in a box and we start to get comfortable with the good life. The job is good. I'm making a good income. I've got health insurance. My family is secure. But inside of us is that I want a great life. And a great life is about making an impact so that someday when I leave this earth, people can say, because Sue Thoens lived, my life is better. And so I just wanted to share with you some of the greatest lessons that I've learned through entrepreneurship. I didn't learn them in college. I went to a great university. I didn't learn them in my wonderful career and all the education provided me there. So I just wanted to impart some of these things on people today and hope that they could just take some value from that and just impact their lives to make tomorrow better for themselves. Well, one of the things that I learned with entrepreneurship is that I am personally responsible for my life. So I'm responsible for who I am right now. And as a result, of where I am today is because of my past actions, my past experiences, and my past choices. So who I'm going to be in the future is determined by my present choices, my present actions, my present behaviors, and those that I'm going to make in the future. But I'm responsible for that. And if I want to make an impact in this world and I want to serve other people, then I need to make the choice to take my eyes off of myself and intentionally try to add value to people every day. The other thing that I learned about through onto my journey of entrepreneurship is personal growth and development. I laugh about this all the time because I said I had a great corporate career and I had some great coaches and people that I actually thought were mentors. But nobody ever asked me about if I had a personal growth plan, if I had a plan to make myself better personally tomorrow than I am today. It was all about the organization, about, managing people, leading people. But, really in leadership, the first person that we have to lead is ourselves. I can't lead you if I can't lead myself out of bed in the morning. So personal growth and development is so important. And, just to take a moment and Matt, like you said, to quiet down and say, where am I at? Where am I at in life today? Where do I want to go? And what do I need to do to get there? And what changes do I need to make? What resources do I need to expose myself to? Because, we don't know what we don't know. So as you start to embark on a personal growth plan and start learning from some of the great mentors and teachers available through books, through podcasts, through YouTube now. I mean, there is no shortage of information to pour into yourself. You can just challenge yourself and grow every single day, and the thing to embrace, and I think that holds a lot of people back, is that our past doesn't have to define us. Who I was who I was, and that's who I was in that season. Good, bad, or indifferent, I was responsible for those choices. But that doesn't have to define who I'm going to be today and who I'm going to be tomorrow. I can invest in myself and change and grow and improve to become the best version of myself. So I would just challenge you all, successful people not only spend a lot of money on personal development and growth, but they spend some time. And, there's no reason not to get up an hour earlier to invest in yourself and read a good book or listen to a podcast. And then the other side of that is associating with good people, people who are in life where you want to be. And that's not just from a material standpoint. Somebody, if you're feeling anxiety, you want to be around people who have peace in their life. How did they get that to happen? If you want a good marriage, you need to be around people who have good marriages and learn what that looks like and associate yourself with people that are rising you to what you want to become. And that's really important. One of the things that I do is I've developed what a friend of ours calls the CEO mindset and daily success habits. And it's serious, and it takes just a few minutes every day. And it's about having your calendar, intentionally planning tonight what I'm going to do tomorrow, intentionally looking tonight for a few minutes on what did I do today? What could I do better tomorrow to make my day better? And that's what we call a CEO mindset. The other thing is really priorities and values. And until I was really introduced to entrepreneurship and mentorship, I really hadn't thought about that. What are my true values in life? And am I directing my activities and my daily life to really support that? And is that really important to me? And it took some time for me to just sit down and, say what's really important to me and then look at what am I doing, with my career? What am I doing with my family relationships? Is that supporting what my values really are? And one of the things that I've just developed here and, through especially this COVID season with all the craziness and and the devastation is to create a sense of urgency of really embracing those values and those priorities on a daily basis. Like I said, not embracing someday, but embracing today. The other thing that is really important to me that I've learned through entrepreneurship, as I mentioned, is having a mentor. And a mentor is, as one of my mentors, Ross Hall, says, is a mentor is somebody who really cares for your soul, and somebody that you really can seek wise counsel from, and looking at somebody who has fruit in their lives. Do they actually do what they say they do, or is it just empty talk? And that's, you want to be around somebody too who's not afraid to tell you the truth, because you're not going to get better unless somebody can come alongside you and tell you the areas that you need to improve from. And then when you're under mentorship, it's about, embracing that information. Sometimes it's hard and going, okay, I know my mentor has my best interests in mind. And then, to turn around and take the mentorship and then mentor somebody else. Who else can I add value to with the things that I'm learning in life? It's really important. And then to dream again. You guys said we're created for greatness. I'm a person of faith. God didn't create us for mediocrity. He created us to do great things and to dream great dreams. And, just to sit, be quiet, and say, these are, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to impact people. And how would I feel if I was that person doing that? How would that feel if I was the person who had an unlimited giving fund, that when there was a need that pulled at my heartstrings, I could just anonymously write a check and take care of something for somebody? How does that really feel? And dreaming that and envisioning that so that we can embrace that. So, um, guys, that's some of the things that I've learned from entrepreneurship. I encourage everybody. We live in the greatest country in the world, founded on free enterprise. There's nothing wrong with jobs. There's nothing wrong with careers, but there's no reason not to take a few hours out of your week and invest it in yourself. Invest it in something that you own, that can give you choices to do things different in life, and get around a great group of people who are winning in life, so that you can not only learn from them, but that you can learn from them and then pay it forward to others. So that's what I've got for this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Sue, for sharing your story and your insight. And it's powerful, how you've taken, it really resonates with me what you're talking about. That, like, the wording you're talking about time, and how we talk about someday this will happen. Someday I'll be happy. Someday, and I think that very much the name of this organization, One Day, is based on what you were just explaining. And it's like, we'll treat like possibility in our lives as something that'll happen maybe in the future, but not now. It's like this idea that at some point this is going to miraculously happen, but at the same time avoiding any responsibility or part in said future. It's like, someday I'll be happy. Someday people will understand me, or someday I'll follow my dreams. And it's like, that's not gonna. Someday is an illusion. There's no such thing as someday. All there is right now. And I think it's so powerful that you've discovered that, and that you're the tools that have developed for yourself, but also that you're sharing with others, is just very powerful. So just thank you for sharing that. What have you experienced, in your life, since you've lost your husband, and since you're you are sharing your gift now, what is it that you could share that you've discovered recently in this new experience of the world, and this new experience of yourself?
Well, first of all, that's a great question. When I was young, my dad always said to me, as once I graduated school and was in corporate America, he would say to me, Suzanne, you need to have your own business. And I just, frankly, that scared the wadding out of me. I'm thinking, I don't have an idea. I don't have a skill. I don't know how to do that. And I mean, if he said it once, he must have said it 100 times. But now, in having my own business, it's not just about the business. It's about the fact that I now control my schedule, which allows me to control my life. And being able to do that enables me to do things that are also really important to me. It's being able to schedule in volunteer hours for causes that are really important to me, that if I was in a traditional job, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do. To have the freedom to go see family. My family is spread out all over the United States. My girls and I are here on the West Coast. Everybody else is on the East Coast. My parents are in Florida. So, to be able to go and to spend time, and that came true really last year. I got a call. My mom was going in for emergency open heart surgery. And I was able to literally drop everything and get down to Florida and spend 4.5 wonderful weeks with her, helping her recover from that surgery and helping my dad. And I wouldn't have had those freedoms. And those are the things to me that are really important. We don't think about having, financial freedom in our life and options in our life to do things. And like I said, it's not just about stuff. It's about being able to make choices, and especially when you have family choices, when something happens with family and you need to be there. And it takes money to get from point A to point B, or to get coverage at work or do something. It takes resources to make things happen. But being able to do that, and then my heart is to also to be able to give to others that might have the need to do that. Somebody who can't get there, and be able to say, here, let me gift this to you. So
Yeah.
to that point you just made, like it takes like I love the way you transition that, because like, at first it was you need money to get there, but then you changed it to resources, and that feels more true to me, because resources can mean anything. Resources can be gratitude, the gratitude of others that you have helped throughout the years. They can be the resources that get you where you need to go. So like that's something that I really love seeing, is just recognizing that money isn't everything. It just seems that way within our current system, um, and we can shift that. Like you know, this has come up a couple times tonight, or today, I should say. The just taking the time to stop and then consider what your values are, as you said. But what I get back from a lot of people when I say that is like, well, I can't stop. There's too much going on. Like I have to have this, and I get this. I have to do this, and to do that, I have to have this, and then like it's just like this never-ending cycle. And I kind of wonder, like, you seem to have gotten past that. Where did that happen, and how did that happen for you?
Well, I think a lot happened for me, Matt, losing my husband. We were successful according to the world, and you realize that that stuff is nice. I like nice things. I'm not going to lie and tell you that I don't, but they don't define me. And his health failed before he passed away, and I would have given anything to have been able to get him healthy, just to be able to spend the time. He didn't get to see my daughters graduate from college. My oldest daughter was in the end of her senior year, playing her senior year of lacrosse, and he had gone to a handful of the games and didn't make it. He missed those things. And my youngest daughter, he missed her whole college basketball career, and not being able to share those things. I now have a grandson, which ironically reminds me so much. He looks just like my husband, and which is a gift. God blessed us with that gift, but he missed that. And you realize in all of this that spending time with family and spending time with the people that you love, so that when you're sitting around a campfire with family members, you're talking about shared experiences and wanting to create those shared experiences, and laughing about funny things that happened. And those are the things we take with us, the experiences, the memories, the feelings of of being loved, of excitement in a moment. And I think it's so important, given the materialistic focus of our culture, to just be sharing this with people. Like I said, opening up their minds to the possible. That we're just programmed this way, but there is a whole nother fulfilled life over here. And you guys know, just because of the work you do, how wonderful it feels when you're just out walking and you see somebody and you just say hi, and all of a sudden they look up and they're like, "Oh, hi!" And you've just blessed somebody by acknowledging that they're important. And maybe nobody else did that for them today. And just being aware of all of those things, and to do that, we've got to get quiet and stop worshiping the busy. And I'm not preaching to anybody. I was there. I mean, we were there in the craziness of our life, which is why I'm really passionate right now to share with people, especially younger people, to say, look, don't do what I did. Let's get other things into your life that can help you live a fulfilled life sooner rather than later. And listen to my story. Let me help you. And let's be a light to a hurting world.
Wow. That's powerful. I mean, back kind of what Matthew was saying with like resources, and like just back to time, and how like just like what you're talking about, the calendar, because that's something that resonates with me right now, and it's like how I've struggled with my calendar, and planning the day before or the night before. What am I going to do tomorrow? How can I best use my time? And I almost get overwhelmed by like, oh, I could do this and I could do that, but it's like, but it's the resource of the occasions we create in our calendar, which allows us to be fulfilled in the things we're committed to, whether it is time with family, whether it's time to relax, whether it's time to get work done. And, like, so what do you, and this is more of a personal question, and I'm sure others will find this useful, but like, what do you say to when it is occurring, like there is, like as Matthew was pointing, like there is, I have to do this, I have to do that, and there's like a lot of things on our plate. How do we find that peace in the chaos in our calendar to, to not be, to not be held back by, but to actually be able to discover those possibilities, not be restricted by, what feels like can be a prison. For me, that's what a calendar occurred to me for a long time. It's like, I don't want a calendar. You can't tell me what to do. And it's like,
Well, and Abram, that just so resonates me, and it brings me back to the time of life when we were running two chiropractic offices. We had a farm with horses and cows, and my two girls were in school, not driving, and playing sports. It was like every day was so full. But when I did that, one of the things for me that I've recognized for a long time is that I need to set my day. Otherwise, as life comes at me, I don't have the armor to deflect as the day goes on. So I started a habit years ago of just getting up earlier. And, my husband used to think I was crazy because sometimes, depending upon my day, that earlier meant I had to get up at 4 o'clock and I'd spend an hour. I'd spend an hour in my chair. I read the word and then I journal. But sometimes I just sit there and close my eyes and, just try to think. And when I would do that, that is really important for our self-care. And, we can't give what we don't have. And if you're not filled up yourself, it is really hard to give to others. And, really, as when parents are dealing with children and you're being a parent and a spouse and, a son and an uncle and a husband, and all these roles are pulling at you, and you're working full time on top of it. You've got to take care of yourself so that you can give to others. And, the other thing when you talk about the calendar is I also, when I sit down and talk with people is, okay, let's put everything out there. Maybe 100 things that you need to get done in the day. But let's say what's most important, okay? And, take care of yourself, your family. And then what can you delegate to other people, or what can you do differently? If something doesn't have to be done every day, is it going to affect, anybody's ability to live or die? Maybe not. Maybe you just need to let some things go in order to have a little bit more peace, so that when you're tired, it's at the end of the day, and the children need something, your spouse needs something, that you're not at the end, at wit's end, with no energy left, but you still have a little bit and can give. So those are some of the things. And when you really start to write things down, I just found there's some things that I do that were really not necessary. They occupied time, but they weren't necessary. Or maybe I could do them a couple days a week instead of every day, or maybe once a week.
yeah.
Yeah, that that brings up something that I've been encouraging many people to look at, including myself, which is, you know, anytime there's a conversation of I need to do something, that is pointing at a belief. And the question is that belief actually true? And no one ever stops to ask that question. But it's like, okay, well, I need to go to work today. Okay, drill down on that. What happens if you don't go to work today? Is that the end of the world? Is this the only, and like a lot of times, most of the time, it seems to come down to, well, if I don't do this, I don't eat. Or like it comes down to survival in some way, shape, or form. I don't eat, my kids don't eat, my family, and that is perhaps the most difficult belief to really look at. Um, because there's like, for myself included, like there just seems to be such a grip that the mind has on survival. And letting go of the idea that the way that we believe things need to happen is the only way they can happen. So like what, like, and this may be something to bring back around with both of you on, because I know we're kind of we're a little short on time today, but like maybe just, and for Wade, if you're listening to our next guest who's coming out here in a second, like
Oop, we lost Matthew. There was something that you were saying, Sue. I mean, it's connecting those dots. What's necessary, what is needed, and like a lot of the time I'm doing things because I've been doing them because they're habits, and I don't ask myself, like, is this necessary? Is this beneficial? Is this contributing? Because maybe it's just because I'm spinning my wheels and I feel like Matthew was saying, I need to do it. I need to do this. Like, oh, if I don't do this, I'm gonna. It's like I will make myself wrong. I will just get in this space where I will. It's like if it's like an analogy. It's like where I'm trying to. It's like I have a rug underneath me, and I'm like trying to. I'm standing on the rug, and I'm trying to pull the rug from underneath me. It's like I get caught in this loop where I'm just like tripping on myself when I'm not, and it's like that doesn't have to happen. Like I made my bed that way. I made it like that. I really just honor and appreciate you being with us, Sue, and we're gonna check back with you in just a moment. We're gonna have Wade, our second guest, share, but just thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your insight. I found it so powerful and profound, and I'm gonna take to heart. I'm gonna watch back and listen again to what you shared because it was very, very relevant for what I'm dealing with right now and what I'm committed to. But thank you so much for just sharing who you are and for the work that you do for this world.
Well, it's an honor to be here with you, and thank you for having me. Truly, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to share.
It's our honor. Well, we're going to check back with Sue in just a moment here. Let me take this moment here really quick to just invite you all to be a part of the stage. So like this stage, it's not about me. It's about you. I want to invite you to really share your story on this stage. What have you gone through in your life? What have you experienced that have allowed you to contribute, to just share the gift that you are, that the gifts that you have, the contribution, the genius that only you and your circumstance and your experience have led to that nobody else has. Like and I can say that as like a fact, like what you've been through and what you faced and what you've gone through, the choices you've made in your past and everything that's led to right now is so unique, and it is so, your perspective is something that nobody else has. Like your perspective is just so unique in that we all have something to gain by what you've been through and what you've gone through. And really I want to invite you to share yourself on the stage. Share what you've experienced and what's allowed you to discover yourself. And that's all part of our mission. That's what we're doing here one day. We're bringing you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. Doing that one story at a time, one share at a time. Now, let me welcome our second guest. Welcome to the stage. With us, we have Wade Bergner. Wade, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks, Abraham. Thank you one day for this opportunity, and you're doing such a beautiful thing. And I have to lean into the fact that that's something that helped me grow. Is because I listened and shared, was able to learn from other people. And so it's not about a story about feeding the ego. It's about listening and being open to other experiences that you can learn and evolve, and we can all get better that way. So, and Sue, I want to thank you for some of those things you said about what pushed you and how it made you grow. And one of the things I wanted to point out is you say, what is it? What is it that really pushed you over the hump? And sometimes it's that pressure, the things that just force your hand into something that you never thought you'd go into because you weren't pushed enough. And sometimes it takes a death. And in that case, it was a couple people passed away for me. And that's made me really reevaluate what's really important. And I also want to thank the entrepreneurial side of things because it provided me a lot of learning, and I needed that in order to grow. But now that I'm past that, I see I'm looking through a different lens, I guess now. And I see that there's a catch-22 and how it's so, it pushes, and what we're surrounded by has a tendency to push us too hard because that's the way we're wired, or that's glamorized, I guess, is to work so hard. And I've had so many countless lessons over the years, and I didn't pay attention until I slowed down and looked and saw the fact that sometimes when I just let go, the best things happen. And I'm never one to just totally encourage complacency. It's a balancing act in there. Put the time in and see the vision, but don't grab so tightly, because that's a mistake I made time and time again. So that's one of the things. To introduce myself, I have 2 boys. I live in Wisconsin. I was just sharing with the group here that we've gone through a 2-week stretch, and it's been below zero for 2 weeks. It's not typical of this area. It does get cold. I have to admit, we get the beauty of all the seasons, but recently that has been tough. But now we're coming into the 10, 20 degree temperature, and it just feels like a balmy heat wave. So, but I've got 2 high school boys, and they're great, and I've enjoyed them thoroughly. I want to point out something. Abraham, he's the musician, and I don't come from a musical background, but as I was listening to Sue talk, there's something I have to remind myself of, and that's the space between the music. That's what really makes things happen, and we have to slow down, and I have to slow down in the way I deliver and the way I talk, and I've been working quite a while at that, and I think that's a good thing, and a good thing to share with other people is it's the space between the music that really makes it sound as good as it does. So who I am, that's a beautiful and loaded question. I think that's something that Abraham and Matt brought to our attention, and over the years, I start to believe that who I am is totally not who I think who I thought I was all these years. And I think there's just a oneness, and it's so, once you let that sink in, it's just such a relief, actually, because you're not putting pressure on yourself individually anymore. You know that you're part of something bigger, and so like in a situation like this, I'm talking because it's doing us all good. I'm not here to feed my ego. I'm here because I know that it's helped me when I was listening to other people, like-minded people that had the same thoughts and same questions about, what am I doing? What do I continue to push myself and try and make more money, try and move up the ladder? And for me, there was a breaking point. I had been fortunate enough to have a couple small businesses that did well, and I did it for 25 years. But it took the death of my very best friend took his life, and he had everything going for him, and just abruptly and it got to be too much. And sometimes life just does. I mean, we're all on a roller coaster ride. It's just, and sometimes we're overwhelmed, and it happens. But we just have to understand how to be more emotionally agile, and that's what led me into writing books. I never really thought I would be in that space, but once I found that space, it felt so good, and it just felt like I wasn't doing the work. Not that it came completely easy, but the stories came from somewhere else than myself. It just felt like they were coming, and they were meant to be shared with kids to try to help them navigate through life. The pressures of life are there and designed to help you grow, but at the same time, this next generation is going to be hit even harder with more and more challenges. So we need to teach them to find that little space and be able to do that in a story format and get it at an early enough stage where they're still close to that, where they came from. And so they still can carry that into life, because when we grow through life, we search for an identity and find this that we have to have and be something, because we're nothing without it. For me, it was I had a reading disability, and I had been put into low reading at like first grade. And for me, thank goodness I had athletics that held me up, but I was a different person on the playground or the ball field than I was in the classroom. And it created this self-worth issue. And so I pushed all my energy into athletics, and it helped me grow, and it helped create confidence in myself. But there became a point in time where, what am I doing this for? What I had self-worth from day one. I didn't have to prove anything. And so that's been really important to me, is to just help share that with other people and help be that light. We're part of something much bigger. We aren't we have the light in us, every single one of us. It depends on where we are in our life right now. It doesn't there's not somebody that's better than somebody else. We all have that light. It's our opportunity, not our responsibility, our opportunity to share that in whatever way we feel best at. And that's a wonderful opportunity we all have. And to slow down and to continue to learn that, to thrive, but at the same time, find something you enjoy doing. And even if it's a hobby, make time for that. For me, after the competitive side of running was over, I realized I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it because it created a comfortable space. It's not a meditative state, but I'm actually working on that too, is to try to use that space as a complete blocking my mind of anything and just run. Don't let the chatter, that voice in the head, try to plot out my day. Just let it be empty. And that's a challenge that I like to put in front of me, and it's a fun one. It's just to try to get yourself to do some things that are the ordinary, but that feel right. You're reaching out or trying to touch into a different part of yourself that can really help you grow and the people around you. And it doesn't have to be in a preachy form. And that's what I really like doing, is just I've taken some very unusual jobs after stepping out and selling these other businesses. And they're not to make money, but they're an opportunity to meet people I wouldn't have met otherwise. And to see what goes through the mind of a person that has to work paycheck to paycheck, and what's going through their mind, their concerns, and listening to them, and then giving them the space to just be heard, be seen and heard. We all deserve that opportunity. And that's some of the things that I've cared about. One of the things I should share with you, when I said about running, I had a teacher, and I'll never forget it, what I mentioned about the reading disability. When I was in 10th grade, I was still doing sports and I was doing fine with it, but I had a math teacher come to me at the end of class, and he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "I'd like you to stay after class." And I thought instantly, there's my self-worth going to work. And it said, great, now it's not just reading, it's math. Well, what happened is the math teacher from next door came over and visited with me, and he said, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "No, you're a math teacher." He said, "Well, no, I'm the track and cross country coach of the high school team, and I just wanted to congratulate you and tell you that you posted one of the very fastest mile times that our school's ever had, and I'd like you to come out for track and cross country." And so, like I said, I love sports, but I went out just because I've never had anybody compliment me like that or say something that, and so that led to building my confidence in an area, and it allowed me to go to college. And then I managed to just really focus on running because it was my identity. I also did enjoy it, but it was my identity, and I put all my energy into it, and ended up being an All-American. I got inducted into the college that I went to's Hall of Fame, and it really built my ego, or built it up. But now I'm trying to destroy it, to be honest with you. I don't need that. And I'm just grateful for everything I've had and got to experience. But the ego gets in the way of us being the best version of ourselves. And there's countless authors and countless coaches and speakers that I've got to spend time with that really have paved the way for me wanting to lean into writing. Because there's one thing I would want to do is pay back and do it in the written and spoken word, and to be able to get kids or adults, anybody that's willing to give me that opportunity, a chance to feel better about who they are and about themselves. So I don't know, did I use up my time here?
You can keep going. You still got a few minutes left, but I mean,
Okay.
if you'd like, if you have a few more minutes, if you'd like to share a little more.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's probably best for everybody, and I just wanted to speak from the heart, and I think that's what you wanted. So those are the things that came to mind. Like I said, just listening to those stories and be able to build on the things that I've learned from other people has been so valuable and helpful to me. And hopefully this is, something I can contribute to your show that maybe can help other people and move into the next stage of their life.
Thank you so much for sharing, Wade. There's a lot of profound things that you shared. One thing that really stuck out was what you're talking about. I mean, in music, but I see it everywhere in life. Is the space between the music, and it's so powerful. It seems counterintuitive, but like what makes and this works with life as it does in a song. It's like it's the silence that makes the song. It's not the sound. It's like there's no such thing as sound without silence. Like there's no such thing as stuff or things without space. And it's like when we actually focus on the space and we actually recognize the space, it opens up possibility. It opens up everything and anything. And it's like how I mean, keeping to the song analogy, it's how I can use silence. It's like a great, I'll put like a great guitar solo isn't, a lot of people will just do a million notes, like just do a million notes, and it's just like, and it might be impressive that they can technically do that, but for me, when you actually are using the silence to invoke something deeper, like silence opens up something. It opens up like this mystery and it and when we are aware of the silence in our own mind, in our own listening of the world, when we have conversations or just when we're in nature, I don't think there's anything more powerful than the space of silence, because that's what allows for everything. Like literally everything comes from the space. And if it's just noise all the time, there's no substance. It's just based on this noise. And I would love for you to, share more about how do you find silence in a noisy world? And this is a general question, but like, how does one find silence?
Oh, well, I guess I just, that little pause, just even for a moment or two where you pay attention to your breath, just as simple as that, just to take that one little breath. I mean, that's, it's just amazing that we don't pay more attention to that breath, because we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. It's just happening. And doesn't that make you think a little bit? I mean, it just lightens the load just to know that. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of what I would think about, slowing down and the noise. And I just crave it. I've craved it since a little boy. Is just the outdoors. Just I have to get outside every day, even if it's -20. I need to be outside a little bit, just the quiet. And I live in the basically in really a secluded area in the woods, and get to see nature, and that really refuels me and just allows me to do that. And um, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and like just like the work that you do is so amazing. You know, like the emotional agility with children. What has been your experience with working with children and helping children? You know, attain that. Because for me, when silence was never something that I would even consider was a good thing when I was younger, and I what is it? What has your experience been like with the work that you're doing? You know, in emotional agility with children.
Yeah, it's been fun. First started off, it was over 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago. I started a nonprofit called Real You with a partner of mine, and that was using peer-to-peer training. And we had it was actually my niece, and then I would write the scripts, and we would create exercises or stories where the child would deliver the message to a younger. So she was 10 years old, and then the 6 to 7 year olds would then listen to them. And we thought that that was a good way because they're going to pay more attention looking up to a kid rather than a teacher, and deliver it in a fun, playful way, just very relatable. And in the process of doing that, we created, gosh, was it a series of videos? And I think we had like 30 some videos, and she did all the videos, and it was just cute. And but I found out how much I liked writing, and just so um, I moved on to the writing side of it, and let Isabella, she's in charge of it now, and she's running that part, because I wanted to lean into just writing children's stories, because that is old school, but I think there's such value in the fact that that space that you create where you're reading a story with a child is so good. And if a parent can sit down with a child and read this book, there's 6 books. The first one's just it's been delayed about 3 months, and it should be out in the next week or two. And that's called The Bird Ride. And in that story, it's a young boy that has a mystical bird ride, and he is playing with his cars, and this little bluebird comes beside him, and it gets really close to him, and they lock eyes, and he has this experience where he shrinks, and then he goes on the back of the bird for a ride, and gets to become aware. He flies up in the clouds, so he sees a different perspective of life and about people's energies, and then he comes back down, and at the end of the story, he's wondering if he dreamt or not, and then he gets on the bus, and something happens. He starts to realize maybe that did happen. And so I'm really proud of it. It feels really good. And I think that it's, I don't know if it'll sell, but I'm going to continue to write because I feel completely at home there. And I just think that it's supposed to be out. So that's one of the stories. Another one's Let Go, but they're all around awareness or, self-esteem, a lot of play with a little bit of the not a little bit of the bullying. Some of that stuff is all in the mix, but it's a fun spot to be.
Yeah.
I really bringing attention to awareness. That to me is actually the key to everything. We were talking earlier with Sue about belief, and just becoming aware of the beliefs that one has is often enough to trigger this domino effect of change in the self and start that questioning process. And what you were saying about the bird ride, the little boy who locks eyes with the bird and then like shrinks down, that's an experience we can actually have. Like we can actually have that experience if we stop and pay attention and just invite it and become aware of all the little things that that we haven't noticed because we've been so busy worrying about where the next meal is going to come from or how I'm going to pay rent or whatever.
That's where it came from. Is that I was at a Hay House Publishing conference, and there was an activity of how, you get in a stressful moment, get on your bird. Everybody has a bird. You pick a bird, whatever bird it is, and hop on your bird and fly away and get a better perspective and slow down for a second. And then it melts away. So I thought, what better message could you possibly have for a kid to get that embedded early enough in life so you can use that the rest of your life? And so I hope the story gets to people. My dream is to be able to donate these books to foster care, organizations, and to children's, the kids that are in most need of those things, and just be able to give them that, just the chance that somebody, can be affected and help them in a way that, it's not out there. It's not, I don't know. I don't think there's enough stories, at least, out there that can do something like that. So,
Not so yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
I think this is a good time as any to bring Sue back into the mix. Let's bring Sue in. Welcome back, Sue. So I want to kind of connect the dots, and I'm just kind of tell you, I'm just hearing basically based on what both of you were sharing. When Wade was saying, like to come back to our breath, find the space and take a breath. And I'll just share with you real quick. I had a moment yesterday where I was kind of like, I forgot to breathe. And like Matthew was saying, it's all awareness. It's all based in awareness. In the moment where I forgot to breathe, there wasn't awareness. I was just, I was like, I had this pit in my chest, and I was just heavy. But for those moments, I believed I was the weight of the world, and I have all this to do, I have that to do. And it kind of connects with what, Sue was saying, is like, when we're scheduling, when we take that time each evening or I could even say the space each evening, create that space to create our day, to create our life, to create occasions with the space and the awareness in that space. And I just think it's because in that moment I had this it was like this overwhelm, and I was carrying the world, and I was just like, I forgot to breathe, and I'm just like, something's wrong here. But I believed it in that moment that the world was on top of my back, and like that was my occurring reality. And it's like for me, but as soon as I took a breath, and I was like, I kind of was reminded, it's like, oh, wait, this is not who I am. And I ended up having a phone conversation with an old friend, and ended up talking with him, and like being able to listen to him and, contribute to what he was dealing with. And I was like, and as soon as I was able to like make an impact with him, I was like, oh, here I am. It's like, okay, I'm back. But it was like in that moment, I felt like I was free falling. Like I believed the disempowering story that has held me my entire life up to the point where I discovered who I am. And I just wanted to give you both an opportunity to comment, but also to, just to share about what you both heard in each other's shares.
Well, first of all, Abram, you're not the only one that happens to. The things that I was talking about today, I mean, I share them with myself and try to practice them because, life comes at us, and sometimes we lose all these tools, and we just get into the moment, and the moment takes us away, and we forget to breathe. Wade, I just love. First of all, I loved your story, but I love your heart for children. Children, whether they're young, whether they're teens, they're the future of our cities, our countries, our world. And the fact that you're writing books with great messages, that's also going to cause parents to have to sit down, open up the book, put a child on their lap or next to them, and read good values that are teaching both of them. I just love that. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. So I wanted to just thank you for the work that you're doing, and it's really admirable, and you're making an impact.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Sue. You have a wonderful heart yourself. And it's been fun to be able to share this and listen to everybody's story and be able to, just be part of this whole thing. So I hope we collectively can do the best and be the light that we all can be. So
Absolutely. We're being the change we want to see. And it's, back to Sue's point, that's something that happens today. It's not, someday maybe, but not now. And it's like our time is our space and our resource to invite those moments for ourselves and each other to live in a world that we all have the gifts of each other, and we are all living in that awareness, in that space collectively, and that lights my heart. That inspires me. Just like when we actually recognize ourselves for who and what we are, and we hold that space for each other, what is possible. And it gives me the chills to think about it. It's just like, because it's not something that's like this fantasy pie in the sky idea, that it's just like, it's actually tangible. Like, it's something that we can have right now. And when we stand there right now and right now and right now, and then maybe forget to take a deep breath, and then I forgot who I am, but then I'm back. And it's like, it's about like we're falling off our horse, but we're getting back on. And it's so, every time I have just amazing, people like yourself share, it just inspires me. It reminds me why I do what I do, and why we're doing this. And it's so encouraging, and it warms my heart knowing that both of you are doing the work that you do, and knowing, that across the world, as you're interacting through your day, that you are contributing to people that, you come across, strangers, friends, family, that you are being the light, you are being the change that the world wants. And I just really acknowledge and honor both of you for just who you are and just who you're being.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, there's so much power that we're just not tapping into. And I think that's where we're leading, I think, is we have that opportunity. And if we can just do our part, who knows? Yeah. And like you said, it's exciting to think, because you can taste it a little bit. You can just say, oh gosh, that feels really good. Well, that's an opportunity for everybody else to start feel good. If we can lean into that more, that's going to be a great thing for us all. So
absolutely.
Well, and
Thank
just
you.
to collaborate, to join hands across the states, across the country, across the ocean, and here we are together as community. And there's power in that. One person alone can make some changes, but people together, we start to multiply our efforts.
Making it comfortable for them to be authentic, like Abraham says. Yeah, making it comfortable for them. And I want to make a funny observation. You had this beautiful cat up in the corner on your studio at the start. I wonder where he or she went.
Well, it's snowing out, and this is her first. That's the kitten, and it's her first winter. So she's like, I want to go outside. And then she's outside for about 5 minutes. She's like, I want to come inside. So she's a little bit antsy, and understandably so. But thank you again so much for being with us. It's such an honor, and just thank you. I would love to have you both come again soon and share some more. And just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being with us, and for what you're up to and contributing to the world that works for everybody.
Well, thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, and thank you all at home for tuning in with us. I want to take this moment again just to invite you to be a part of this virtual stage. Who you are and what you've been through is somebody else's gold. It's somebody else's access to get what you've gotten, and experiencing yourself. What you've overcome was not in vain. It is very much the tinder, the fire that gives that to somebody else and hands the torch off for them to face what they're facing, and knowing that they're not alone, that they can have the courage like you to face what they're facing. They're not alone, and that they have the power. They can come out of that lonesome valley that they're walking through, and they can come on top of the mountain and just share the gift that they are with the world for us all to be enriched by. And it's like that's true for every single one of you, no matter who you are, where you're from, what color you are, who you pray to, what you don't pray to. It's just like you have a gift. You have gifts that enrich us all. And that's what this space is for. And our vision here is humanity rising in a connected world with each person's unique contributions being valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you all again for being with us. And thank you again, Wade and Sue, for sharing your story, your insight, your wisdom. It's been such a wonderful experience to have you share. And to everyone at home watching, thank you so much. I love you. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you next week. And as always, one day is today. Take care, everybody.